Hello. I am going to talk about tufting today. I got into this a couple months ago and it's been quite a journey to get all the supplies set up and to invest in all the supplies. I did my first project this weekend. I was a little nervous after investing into it that I wouldn't like it or I wouldn't be good at it, but I learned a lot and I want to share some of it. So first of all, just overview supplies. There's lots of videos out there of how to get started, but I'll just jump over. This is the gun that I got. You can buy it from .com, other places. Honestly, I got it on eBay from China. It was $100 cheaper than anywhere you could buy here. So you could buy it on Alibaba or eBay for like about $150. There's two kinds, cut pile and loop pile. Everything that I've read suggests that you should start with the cut pile, which is what I have. It's a lot easier to manage, and I'm excited to try the other ones in the future after I geek out on this a little bit more. So anyways, here's your gun. I bought some fancy wool that comes on spools, really pretty colors. I'm not going to use this yet because I'm still learning and I don't want to use the wool that I spent a lot of money on. Wool holds up better, it's better quality, it's also more expensive. And it's not as soft as the acrylic yarn. So I just went to craft stores and bought a bunch of this kind of yarn on sale. The problem is you need it on a spool. The feeding for your tufting backing is really important. So I bought some extra cones that look like this and just wrapped it on. I bought a yarn winder from Amazon, much faster than winding it yourself. Although I did wind a bunch of these myself. So your feeding system and putting them on cones is going to be really important. I actually did try when I started off. They say, I've watched some videos that if the centerpiece pulls out okay, then it feeds okay. It wasn't working for me. I had to rethread my gun over and over, and it's just not worth it, so put it on a spool. All right, so threading your gun, easy to figure out. Watch some videos on it. Also setting up your frame, watch some videos on how to do your frame. The most important thing is the carpet tack on the edges, because the most important thing for your frame is that one, that it's sturdy, and two, that your monk's cloth is stretched as tight as possible. I saw this video where you can use pliers on the end and really stretch it. I suggest that. Okay, so I want to show you my mistakes and what I learned. Let's see, we'll move this a little bit closer. All right. The first, I'm just kind of the let's go for it and try. I'm sure that I could have set up my supplies a little bit better. I suggest having all your colors and everything. What I did is I planned out my design in Procreate. I think it's important to know where your colors are going to go ahead of time. It's kind of hard to gauge unless you're really going for the abstract wing it as you go. Maybe for your first one, I wouldn't suggest that. So anyways, I planned out my design in Procreate. I freehanded it. Some people trace it. Lots of different methods. Somehow get your design on the canvas. So as you can see, my first canvas, I'm going to make this close. Professional video skills here on my iPhone. You know, it's really messy. This is not what it's supposed to look like. Also, I ended up with a huge pile of scrap on the floor. That's not supposed to happen either. So what I did the first time is I just went for it with the gun. The trigger, I pushed down the trigger and I just went. And I think a couple things that I learned is do the tufting in spurts, especially when you're going around the edges. And when you're doing curves, this can happen. This nice big hole that I did right here. So, you know, it's a learning process. It's going to take time. You know, I messed up on my first one. It's still usable. I'll probably use it for myself. I won't be able to sell it. But on my second one, you can see it's much cleaner. The lines are straighter. Here we have, this is where you start. This is where they start. So these just pull out right here. You can pull them out or you can cut them. I've heard people do both. What I learned from my second one, go slower, go in spurts, make sure your canvas is as tight as possible, take your time. I was trying to go too fast on my first one. Make sure that your lines are clean. And do the tufting gun in spurts. You don't have to go full for it. You know, now that I'm actually getting a better feel for the gun, I can go a lot faster. And I'm excited about continuing on and trying new methods. I really want to try continuing and turning my gun so I don't have to pull it out every time. But like I said, it's a learning process. And so let's see, I'll walk over here to the other side. My first one, I mean, it's a rug, but it's a little rough. You can see the hole that I have to patch here. And then the second one, lines are a lot cleaner, looks a lot better. So learning, I know that I'm officially addicted. Using a tufting gun is so much fun. And now, next I need to get a little bit more yarn to finish up. And then I have to move towards clipping all these extras and backing them and finishing them. Can't wait.